Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. It's the capital city of the province of British Columbia, my hometown. I hope everybody has had a great start to their week and is looking forward to a fantastic, productive week ahead, staying healthy, staying strong. Hi, Jainil. Welcome, members. Welcome, Aryan, Jasur, Bishal. Good to see many students in the class, ready to learn. In this lesson, we are focusing on IELTS Speaking Part 1, and I will be telling you some strategies, and we will be practicing to have that Band 9 super start to your speaking interview. While we wait for a few more of your classmates, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we've got loads and loads of content for you to help improve your score. In fact, we boast over 60 practice IELTS speaking interviews with different kinds of band scores on each website with videos and scripts to help you master English communication and speaking. So you can join our premium IELTS package by clicking that big red button. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's really, really worth it. We are an official British Council IELTS test registration center and certified agents, so we definitely know what we're doing. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. Again, you can click that big red button to join us there. Now, students, set your YouTube to 720p. For the best viewing. This is an ultra low latency stream, which means that we're almost in real time. So you hear me just a few seconds after I actually say what I say, and I see your responses. And for the best viewing, you want 720p. I've pinned that comment for everybody to remember that. All right. So we've got lots of good content coming up for you. We will have my IELTS Band 9 Journey Episode 5 premiering this Sunday for you. I sat the official IELTS exam a few months ago, hoping to get a Band 9, and I got 3 Band 9s, Band 9 in speaking, reading, listening, but I only got a 7.5 in writing, which was disappointing. Writing section is very subjective in the marking. So episode 5 will be EOR, an inquiry on results, hoping to get a little bit of a better score. You can check that out this Sunday, see what happens. We've got apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. Those apps power our websites as well. You can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AHelp, GIELTS Help. Precious Muchenwa, good luck on your speaking on Monday the 27th. Send me an email if you have questions, students. Adrian at aehelp.com. I will be happy to respond, or one of my colleagues. And we've got a full week of classes. We will have writing and reading and speaking later on this week. You can check out the schedule on Instagram or YouTube. And now let's get into our speaking. All right. You're very welcome, Precious Muchamwa. Make sure to pay attention in this class because we've got lots of great information coming up for you. So this is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. All right. So the speaking interview, it's done separately from the listening, reading, writing part of the test. It takes about 12 minutes. You have to show up early for your speaking exam. How many minutes or how much time before your speaking interview should you show up at the exam center? Okay. Next, it's absolutely okay to have a fake accent. It's actually good to copy an accent like a British or an Australian. Just make sure you stick with one. If I, maybe I'm biased because I'm Canadian West Coast, but if I wanted to learn an accent, it would definitely be either West Coast or East Coast North American. It's the clearest accent. More people understand it than any other accent. So either like a Los Angeles or like a New York accent, Toronto accent, Vancouver accent. All right. Angun says show up 30 minutes before. Precious Muchemwa says show up 20 minutes before. Ramwa says 20 minutes before. I disagree, Angun and Precious Muchemwa. I say show up an hour before your exam. Why do I say that? Okay, this is a first big tip here. So show up an hour early. 1 hour early to your speaking interview. Okay. Why do I say that? Okay. There's a good reason. And I think, yeah, there you go. Arda says show up an hour early. Jaideep, you will be in trouble if you only show up 15 minutes before because you have to register 20 minutes before your speaking interview. So you absolutely have to be there at least 20 minutes before. But I suggest show up an hour early. Aryan says to practice. Yeah, absolutely. So show up an hour early to your speaking interview. So you can practice speaking with other candidates waiting. Okay, bring some scripts with you. And I suggest not just on your phone, but actual paper. So that you can copy, you can practice with other candidates. So find another candidate. If some of you didn't see the third episode of my Band 9 IELTS journey, that's what I did. I went to the test center. I found another candidate outside the test center because of COVID. People are outside the test center. And I said, hey, can you practice some speaking with me? I have some speaking questions. And that candidate was like, yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. So we sat down, we asked each other some questions. And I never included this in the video, but I actually saw that candidate after my speaking interview and after his speaking interview. And he said to me, he was like, that was really good. It made me feel way better when I was in my speaking test. I was way less nervous. Okay. Aksdushi, don't ask for water if you feel nervous. Take water with you. Okay. So take water with you. All right. Vivek, I am Canadian. Yes. Okay. What else? What else is important here? MKL, check out the website. Send me an email. Okay. So why else do you want to show up 1 hour early to your speaking interview? It's also so that you can get familiar with the test center. Often the speaking is before the other parts of the test. So that you can calm down and gain confidence. Focus on your goal. Okay. So a lot of people are really nervous, and it's hard to shake the nerves in 20 minutes before your speaking interview. So if you're there an hour early, then it gives you a lot more time to just get really nervous and then be like, okay, I've been nervous for like 30 minutes. I should just calm down a bit, right? So if you give yourself an hour to calm down, because usually people get nervous when they arrive, and then they get nervous again when they walk into their speaking interview, right? So when you walk into your speaking interview, this is another tip for you, okay? To calm down, for your speaking interview, imagine that the examiner is your grandpa or grandma, they love you and they won't judge you. But you have to speak loud and clear in full sentences with clear information. Okay, so calm down twice. Calm down once by going there an hour early and being like, okay, I'm here. I've been freaking out for the last 30 minutes. Now I can just chill out and I'm going to do this speaking interview. And then when you walk in to do your speaking interview and you meet the examiner, you'll probably get a little bit nervous again. So then you go, okay, that's my grandpa. If it's a guy, if it's a girl, maybe that's my grandma. And then you'll be like, okay, grandma loves me. I just got to chill out, do my job, speak in full sentences and clearly. Okay. Adam says, eat some chocolate to overcome fear. That could work too. Oral stimulation is a way to calm the nerves. Some people say eat a candy, like a hard candy. So that works as well. Okay. And the other step that you need to take when you're doing this is have a mental checklist. This is a super important strategy. Okay. So have a mental checklist with 5 to 7 items or points to remember. Now, these should be kind of points that you sometimes forget to remember, okay? And I definitely recommend not having this on your phone, but actually, again, having this on a piece of paper. So you need a couple pieces of paper with you for the speaking interview. 1, some questions that you have folded up in your pocket, and 2 is your mental checklist on a small piece of paper, a regular piece of paper. Write down some key points to remember to get those high band scores. Now, for some of the students that are regularly in this class, what are some key points that can go on your mental checklist to help you get that high band score? So what kind of communication is really important for the IELTS speaking interview for those high band 7, 8, 9 band scores? So what should you put on that little checklist? Like point 1, remember to do this. Point 2, remember to do that. When we're nervous, it's easy to forget. Having that little list will help you, okay? So, Pardius Abul Gashami says, body language, yeah, maybe. So you might have something like, okay, here's your mental checklist. All right. And you might have something like open body language. Yeah, if you're one of those people that tends to close up when you speak in nervousness like this, okay, then it's important to put that on the piece of paper, because when you do this, you put pressure on your chest, so you become quieter and you become more introverted and you speak in short sentences. Like, what is your full name? Adrian Smith. Where do you work or do you study? I study. So you don't want that kind of closed physical posture. You want an open posture. Even put your hands up on the table and use your hands, okay? In most English-speaking cultures, we do use quite a bit of body language, so it's absolutely good to do that. So you might have that if that's one of your weaknesses. What else might you have? Yeah, so VG Pusala says examples when answering, especially in part 1. Yeah. A lot of students forget that. Okay, so you just have examples like, what's your favorite food? And then you'll say, well, my favorite food is pizza. I love all the different flavors, the cheese, the meat, the bread. In fact, I had a delicious pepperoni pizza last weekend. So you include that smooth example. In fact, I had a delicious pizza last weekend, okay? Space, odd jobs. Yeah, it's absolutely okay to pause at times between sentences to process information before you speak. That's intelligent communication. Okay, Nick Hill says use notes during speaking part 2. Yeah. And I wouldn't just say notes, Nick Hill. I would say and questions. So you might have that on your mental checklist. Absolutely. So many students for part 2 in the 1-minute preparation time will write down notes, and then the examiner says begin speaking, and then they start talking and they get stuck for ideas, and then they're like, oh, what do I do? What do I say? What do I say? It's like, your notes are right there, and they don't look at their notes, and it's so bad, and the examiner cannot tell you to look at your notes. The examiner will not be like, oh, if you're stuck, just look at your notes. They, inside their head, feel horrible. They're like, oh, just look at your notes, but they'll just keep smiling and being like, that's so painful. So, yeah, you might have that on there. Absolutely, Nick Hill. Okay. Agdushi says frequent eye contact. Yeah, you might have that as well. Okay, so there's lots of good. One that I really like that I think students forget no matter how many times I tell them to do this is quantitative language. And quantitative language means numbers. Okay, so use numbers in your speaking. Numbers are super effective for good communication. So when the question is like, how often do you watch television? And you say, I frequently watch television. I would say about 2 hours each day, at least 4 days a week. Okay, so that 2 hours each day, 4 days a week, that's really good. And quantitative information often will feed back into examples. Okay, so having that mental checklist for the speaking section, looking at that just before you go into your speaking interview can help you to pick up even a full band score. All right, everybody good on that? So everybody's clear what you need to do before you're speaking. I don't always start these classes with this, but I went into a bit more detail this time because we often have lots of new students. These are the kinds of strategies you can learn on aehelp.com and glshelp.com in our premium package again, so it's worth it. Okay, Precious Muchemwa says, yep. Janelle says, yep. So Precious Muchemwa, I'm hoping that these tips will help you on that speaking interview coming up on the 27th on Monday. Okay. All right. So let's get into our IELTS speaking practice for today. Now, just before we do that, a quick reminder, focus on giving an answer, explanation, and example. Okay? So whenever you're practicing, when you're in your interview, this is the foundation. This is the cornerstone of your high band score IELTS speaking interview. Okay? Rashid, yeah, I would definitely give some smooth examples for speaking part 3 as well. Absolutely. In fact, I did that in my official IELTS exam, and I got a band 9, so definitely there was something there that works. Okay? All right, so you walk into your speaking interview, you're calm, you've been there, you're practicing, you looked at your mental checklist, the examiner meets you. The first question the examiner is going to ask you is, may I see your identification? Okay, they have to ask you this question. It's part of their administration, and you really want to show awesome English from the very beginning, okay? So you go into your exam and the examiner says, welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. The test has 3 parts. I will give you instruction for each part. This is candidate number 793512. We are currently conducting the exam in Miami. The time is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now we shall begin. May I see your identification? Okay, Harwinder says, certainly here you go. That's okay, Harwinder. Yeah, you don't have to be like super fluent right away, but you should use these questions to remind you about fluency, right? So Rashika says, yes, here is my passport that I used to register for this exam. Please have a look. Sure. MK says, yes, here's my official passport with my personal information. Please have a look. Nice, MK. So yeah, use these questions to build fluency. Okay. Harry saying, I'm telling you right now I got band 9. All right. Space Odd Job says, certainly here's my passport with my credential page. Please have a look. Yeah, very nice. That works. Sure. Ayush says, yes, sure. Here's my passport I used for registration for this exam. Pawan Preet says, of course, here you are. Yeah, again, that's okay. So you can start that way, but you should use these questions to build fluency. So may I see your identification? Yes, it's just stuck in my pocket. Okay, got it. Here is my passport that I used to register. Please take a look. Okay, so be natural. I think this happens to a lot of students. It gets stuck in their pocket, especially if they have jeans. I've seen students where they have to kind of stand back up again and be like, ooh, there it is. Okay, so speak and repeat. May I see your identification? Yes, it's just stuck in my pocket. Okay, got it. Here's my passport that I used to register. Please take a look. And then you show them your passport. Aksdushi, yes, absolutely. You want to be as natural and original as possible. That is important, okay? All right, next question they will ask you while you're holding that passport is, what is your full name? So give them a nice full sentence for this one as well. So what is your full name? Give me your full name, okay? Let's see. Yogesh, if you're having difficulty hearing the examiner, you can. So Yogesh is asking a good question while everybody's answering this. Yogesh's question is, can you ask the examiner to speak louder? Absolutely you can. You can say this, okay? So I'm a bit hard of hearing. Would you mind speaking up a bit? I would really appreciate it. Now, most examiners do speak fairly loud, so if they're speaking loud and you can hear them, don't say that because they'll be like, oh, what kind of a weird trick is going on here? But if they're soft spoken, okay, if somebody is quiet, in English we say they're soft spoken. Okay, if your examiner is soft spoken, then definitely use the phrase above. That's going to be kind of rare. They usually are instructed to speak loud and clear, but if they're soft spoken, then yeah, definitely ask them that phrase, okay? All right, let's get back to this. What is your full name? Abdullah Al-Zaruni says, my given name is Abdullah and my last name is Al-Zaruni, but you can call me Abdullah. Yeah, that works. I usually think saying please call me is a bit more polite according to English-speaking cultures, so it's better, okay? Arda says, my given name is Arda and my surname is Gurbaz. As you can see in my passport, please just call me Arda. Okay, good. MK, only once. So I choose different people at different times out of the chat. Okay, so please don't spam the chat in hopes of me getting to it. I choose different people for different questions, so it's everybody gets a turn, or maybe not everybody, but lots of people. Chabi says, my official full name as is written in all the documents is Chabi Khalil. However, I would feel more comfortable being called Hamza, as my grandma used to refer to me. Please do this if the policy allows. Chabi, very nice, natural language, good expression, good expressive style and fluency. That's band 9, okay? That's how you get band 9. When you say that clearly, fluently, you're on a band 9 path. Kazi says, my full name is Kazi Rai Shuzaman Roy. Please call me Roy, since my first and middle name can be hard to pronounce. Very good. Yeah, I had to look at that carefully, and I probably still mispronounced it, Kazi. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Constance Munga says, my first name is Constance. My family name is Munga. Please call me Connie. Please call me by my nickname, Connie. Okay. If you want to be called by your nickname, say it's my nickname. Otherwise, they're like, why don't I see that name in the passport? Okay. So if you've got a nickname, make sure you tell them that. Okay. So my given name is Timothy, and my surname is Smith. But please call me by my nickname, Jazz, as this makes me comfortable and relaxed. Yeah, you'll probably be a little bit more chill if you're called by your nickname that you're used to. And the examiners are totally okay with that. They'll be like, okay, Jazz. So they do want to kind of have you feeling comfortable and confident. So they have no problem calling you by your nickname, okay? In fact, if you don't tell them what they should call you, especially if you have a really tricky name, then they will ask you, and what can I call you, or what should I call you, okay? So here we go. What is your full name? My given name is Timothy, and my surname is Smith, but please call me by my nickname, Jazz, as this makes me feel comfortable and relaxed. Okay, Jazz. All right, so one more time, everybody. Make sure to speak and repeat. Try to copy my pronunciation, my intonation, my fluency. And if you feel that you have some good English skills, try to do it without reading. Okay, don't read. Okay, let's do this one more time. So what is your full name? My given name is Timothy and my surname is Smith, but please call me by my nickname Jazz, as this makes me feel more comfortable and relaxed. Okay, Jazz, where do you live? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Now, these are being marked. They're the icebreaker questions. The examiner is marking you here. They're already getting an idea of your English communication ability. So they will say, okay, now I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Okay. Where do you live? Okay. Give a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. Jainil says, I reside in a 2-bedroom condo on the 3rd floor in the heart of Surat, which is part of Western India. I have been living here with my family for the last 5 years. Okay, good, Jainil. Jainil, you do not need to say of the building. That's awkward. Like, you don't have to say 3rd floor of the building. Just, I live on the 3rd floor. Okay, it's clear that it's on the building. Okay, or in the building. Jasur says, I reside in a cozy 2-story yellow house on a nice plot of land with a small green yard in the center of the city of Samarkand, located in northern Uzbekistan. Okay, Jasur, good. Be specific. So don't just say country of Uzbekistan, but say northern Uzbekistan or eastern or bordering Uzbekistan and, okay? So be a little bit more specific. All right. Rashika says, my given name is Rashika. My family name is Kataria. You can just call me by my given name, Rashika. That works for the previous one. Okay. Kian Lei Tai says, I reside in a 3-bedroom, 2-story family home in Nay Province, which is a beautiful tower on the center of Vietnam. A little bit confusing here, Qin at the end, which is a beautiful tower. I think you meant town, right? Which is a beautiful town near the center of Vietnam. Okay, make sure that pay attention to your typing to get those high marks. I think that's where I maybe lost some scores in my IELTS exam. Okay, Shaibin Binaj says, I live in the outskirts of Kerala in a 3-bedroom apartment with my family. You live in a 3-bedroom apartment with your family. Okay, Yashu Kamboj says, well, I'm a dweller of Yamunagar district of Haryana state in northeastern part of my country, which is famous for its steel and plywood industries. Yashu, I didn't ask you what your city is famous for. Instead of telling me what your city is famous for, focus on where you live, okay? So, well, I reside in the Yamunanagar district of Haryana state in a townhouse with my parents, and I have been living there for the past 20 years. That will get you a better score. Always be accurate to the question, students, okay? So be accurate and detailed to the question to get high band scores. Okay, so where do you live? I live in a 2-bedroom, 3-story townhouse with my lovely wife and 2 children near the downtown area of Victoria, which is the capital city of BC in Western Canada. And I have been living there for the past 30 years. Okay, so again, be specific to the question. Here we go. Where do you live? I live in a 2-bedroom, 3-story townhouse with my lovely wife and 2 children near the downtown area of Victoria, which is the capital city of BC in Western Canada. And I've been living there for the past 30 years. Okay, or I've been living here is okay as well. All right, next question. What do you do to relax? Very common question. It's kind of like, what are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time? So these questions are kind of synonymous. Okay, make sure to practice these. There's a very good chance you might get this question. Most common questions are, do you work or do you study, or what do you do to relax? Okay, so what do you do to relax? What are your leisure time activities? What do you do to unwind? Okay, Asad Bek says, well, I can listen to my favorite songs to relax if I feel exhausted. Like what? What are your favorite songs? When is the last time, Asad Bek, that you did this? Okay, so clear explanation and example. Keep that always in your head. Answer, explain, example. Okay, Mastermind says, well, I'm not much of a sporty girl. I like to listen to music, especially classical music, which helps me to feel so relaxed. I was listening to a bit of Mozart just before this exam to be calm and focused. Right, Mastermind? Remember that example. Jainiel says, in order to relax, I love to both binge watch movies and cook delicious food. Those activities help me to rejuvenate for the next day from my 8-hour job. Just yesterday, I flicked Shang-Chi on Disney Plus. Okay, Jainiel, great, nice example. Getting really good. All right, getting really good with your answers. All right. Precious says, I live in a 4-story building on the 3rd floor. I live in a 3-bedroom apartment with my family. Our apartment has spacious rooms with enough light, very warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Precious, good, don't overspeak. The last part is not directly connected to your answer for the previous one. All right, what do you do to relax? In order to unwind, I like to kick up my feet for a couple of hours in front of the telly and watch one of my favorite shows. Yesterday, I saw a couple episodes of Vikings, and it really helped me to zone out from my stressful day. All right. So here is your answer, explanation, example. Okay, what do you do to relax? Repeat after me. In order to unwind, I like to kick up my feet for a couple of hours in front of the telly and watch one of my favorite shows. Yesterday, I saw a couple episodes of Vikings, and it really helped me to zone out from my stressful day. Now here, we're starting to push that band 9 with a little bit of idiomatic language, really good explanation, example, okay? This is really, really, really important to get good fluency scores, good lexical resource marks, coherence marks. That's what they're marking you on, okay? So notice how I'm using the question in my answer. So what do you do to relax? In order to unwind, I like to kick up my feet. Kick up my feet means you have your feet and you go whoop, and your feet are up and you're back. And now you're just watching television or doing some other activity, which is relaxing, okay? So pay attention to that idiomatic language. All right, telly is television, yeah. It's kind of slang for television. And yeah, it might be spelled a little bit differently. It's more of a British word. Canadians don't use it as much. British like to use it. Canadians say TV or television. British like to say the tube or the telly. It doesn't matter if you're using British or American slang. Both are okay. British examiners are familiar with North American and Australian slang, as are Australians and North Americans familiar with the slangs of other dialects for the most part. Not all, but the common slangs. So it doesn't matter which slang you use. It's a good idea to put in just some basic, simple idiomatic language and slang. Okay, here we go. So now that you're done these icebreaker questions, the examiner will say, okay, well, now let's talk about gifts. How often do you buy a gift? Okay, give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So how often do you buy a gift? Yeah, Rohit, you should definitely use a bit of slang language. It makes you feel more natural, more fluent. So using wanna, gonna sometimes is a good idea. Okay, definitely use phrasal verbs. Yuki-un, I think, if I'm reading your hiragana correctly. Then definitely, yeah, use phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are considered to be idiomatic language. Yuki-un, right? Yuki-un. If I'm reading your hiragana correctly. It's been a while. All right. Your answers don't need to be super long. You just have to focus on answering the question clearly, directly, full sentences, okay? All right. Mastermind says, I love buying gifts for others, and I feel embraced when someone offers me gifts. I buy gifts recently for special birthdays of my friends. Mastermind, you're not answering the question. How often do you buy a gift? Okay, it's a missing word there. How often do you buy a gift? Okay. So you have to answer that question specifically. Sanjay says, I don't buy gifts very often unless and until there's a special occasion. For instance, last week my friend had his birthday, so I bought him a mobile phone. Ooh, that's a very nice gift, Sanjay. So how often do you buy gifts? Not very often. Once a month? Once a year? How often are there special occasions in your life? Okay. Shirani says, I buy some gifts for my kids to celebrate their birthdays. Usually I buy toys and books for them. A couple of weeks ago, I bought a smart mobile phone for my husband. Stay away from the smartphones as the examples. They're just beaten to death. They're used way too often, okay? So say something else, like I bought a toy plane for my son, okay? All right. Angun says, I occasionally buy gifts to present to my friends for their birthdays. Like last month, I bought a box of chocolates to give it to my next door neighbor for her birthday. Nikhil says, more often than not, I purchase gifts 3 to 4 times a month, either for my friends on birthdays or their promotion, getting a job, or my family on their birthday. Most of the time to show my love and respect. Last month, I bought a watch for my mom on her birthday. Nikhil, that is a beautiful band 9 answer. Okay, so that's what you need to do. All right, so how often do you buy a gift? I frequently buy presents, either for my friends or my family on special occasions, such as birthdays and weddings. In fact, I just bought a nice dish set for my friend for his wedding present last month. Okay. And then what we want to do here, very importantly, actually, you know what? I should ask you. So what am I missing? This looks like a pretty good answer, but I can make it even better. All right. What am I missing here? So the question is, how often do you buy gifts? And I say, I frequently buy presents, either for my friends or my family on special occasions, such as birthdays and weddings. In fact, I just bought a nice dish set for my friend for his wedding present last month. Okay, that's a good answer, and I would say it's almost a band 9. There's one extra step that I can take to make sure that this is a band 9 answer. What can I do? What am I missing from my response here? What can I do? Very good. Ajaya says, I'm not showing quantitative language. Yeah, absolutely, Nick Hill. So quantitative language. So I can say, okay, I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 gifts per month. Okay, yeah, that makes it so much clearer for the examiner, right? So again, if we go back to the question, how often do you buy gifts? Now it's a true band 9. I frequently buy presents either for my friends or my family on special occasions such as birthdays and weddings. I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 gifts per month. In fact, I just bought a nice dish set for my friend for his wedding present last month. Okay, notice how that quantitative language just makes it so much clearer for your audience, what you're talking about. Okay. The other good piece of communication here is the correlative conjunction, either for my family either for my friends or my family. So using correlative conjunctions, very, very useful. Okay. Next question. Who do you usually get presents from? So who do you usually get presents from, and then why? Okay. All right. So give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Next, collocations are words that are commonly used together in language. Okay, like business deal is a type of collocation. Okay. Amrinder Singh, kith and kins is not going to get you a high band score. It's not a full sentence answer by any means. PM Evening says, I actually say that I usually get presents from myself. Okay, PM Evening, why? Okay, you still have to explain it. So PM Evening, I would say something like, I would actually say I get presents from myself because currently I'm a bachelor. I'm living away from home during my university studies. So most frequently, if I like an object or some item, like a new gaming console, I go out and buy it for myself and gift it to myself. Last week, I bought a really cool smartwatch that I've wanted, and I gave it to myself for my birthday. Okay, so it's okay to say I usually give presents to myself or get presents from myself. Explain it, okay? Because it's unusual, right? So you want to explain that, okay? All right, Ahmed Wasim says, I usually get presents from my friends because they are people who know me better than anyone else in my life. I would say I get a gift at least once a month from one of my friends. Last month, my friend Mohammed gave me a new t-shirt. Okay, Ahmed, so finish with a strong explanation and example. All right. Yogesh says, I mostly get presents from my family members, especially from my mother. Since my childhood, she is offering me several gifts on my smaller or bigger achievements. Okay, very good, Yogesh. Can you give me an example of a gift that she has given you recently? Okay. Rashika says, I usually receive gifts from my husband or my siblings for my birthday or our wedding anniversary. Last year, I had received a golden ring from my husband for our wedding anniversary. Very nice. Rashika, that would be past perfect, not present perfect. I had received, okay? And it's good to use complex grammar because you're being marked on that. Most of the time, I receive gifts from either my wife or my father. My wife loves me, so she buys me gifts at least a couple of times each month to express her emotions. And my father often buys me gifts to encourage me to pick up a new hobby. Last month, he bought me a camera to try and get me into photography. Okay, all right. Kind of true, I guess. So here we go. IELTS doesn't have to be true. So this is not true about the camera, but my dad does encourage me with his gifts. So repeat after me. Who do you usually get presents from? Why? Most of the time I receive gifts from either my wife or my father. My wife loves me, so she buys me gifts at least a couple of times each month to express her emotions. And my father often buys me gifts to encourage me to pick up a new hobby. Last month, he bought me a camera to try to get me into photography. Boom! There's your Band 9 answer. Okay, that'll get you high band scores. Make sure you're fluent. All right. Next question. Which days are common to give gifts to others for you? Good question. Now, if you've already talked about this, make a connection. Okay, so say, well, as I mentioned in my previous responses, okay, so if you've already talked about it, connect. Connections are very good because they create coherence, so they improve your communication. Okay, give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. All right, so which days are common to give gifts to others for you? Techi Nidhi says, generally it is the fall time and Christmas time. Why, Techi? Explain that to me. Okay. All right. As asking if we want to explain about our short answer, what information must we say that's extra to the answer? The extra information is your explanation example, and it's related to the question. Sub 2 Pewds 12 says, I mostly get presents from my relatives, usually for birthdays or when I achieve a considerable milestone. Last year, I passed a very important test and my family bought me a trip to New Zealand. Okay, sub 2, be specific. Don't use words like something, sometime, somewhere. Okay, doesn't mean anything for your listener. Okay, what thing, what time, where, right? So be specific. Okay, Yashu says, well, I get presents once a year, especially on my birthday, from my friends and family members, as they're the close ones to me, to display their love and affection. Like last birthday, I received a digital watch from my parents that I've been wanting for quite some time. Okay. Simranjit says, people like to give gifts on their religious holidays, such as on the festival Deepawali. People give sweets to their relatives and friends. Okay, good. Potato says, well, for me, I consider birthdays would be the common celebrations to give gifts because we usually celebrate friends and family and also frequently each year. All right, Potato, a little bit awkward, but you're on the right track. Arta says, basically, I would say birthdays and the day before the new year because people like to celebrate these days with lots of happiness. And when I give gifts, they become happier. Okay, Arta, good. New Year's in Western culture, it's not common to give gifts. But I know that, for example, in China, for Chinese New Year's, people give little red envelopes with money as gifts. So, yeah, you want to always explain clearly. Rashika says, as I mentioned earlier, like others, the common days which I give gifts are birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, and national days. Okay, very good. Yes. So, which days are common? In relation to my previous answers, as with many others, common days when I give presents to my relatives and friends are birthdays, anniversaries, religious holidays such as Christmas, and when they achieve a great goal, such as when my sister graduated high school last year. I bought her a new car. Why not? Let's go big or go home. All right. Again, you don't have to have the truth. The examiner has no idea how much money you have and has no idea what kind of car you're buying. It could have been a Porsche or it could have been a Suzuki. All right. So here we go. Full sentence answers. Repeat after me. Which days are common to give gifts to others for you? In relation to my previous answer, as with many others, common days when I give presents to my relatives and friends are birthdays, anniversaries, religious holidays such as Christmas, and when they achieve a great goal, such as when my sister graduated high school last year, I bought her a new car. Ooh, all right. So again, full sentence, answer, explain, example, reflect the question, use the grammar of the question. Here are a couple more complicated questions for you. I'm out of time, but I recommend trying these. You can use our websites to find IELTS students to speak with and practice these questions. Here's a question: how has gift giving changed compared to a few decades before? And here's a conditional question: if you could give a special gift to any person, what would it be and who would you give it to? Why? Okay, so use the condition. If I had the chance to give a present to someone near and dear to me, it would definitely be for my daughter, as her birthday is coming up soon. Okay, so you can practice these questions on our websites. This is our general IELTS website here, the green background. You can click that big red button to join our premium package. It's not very expensive and it's tons of help. And when you are a student on our website, you can go into your My Student account. And in your My Student account, you can click on Student Partner Speaking, accept the terms, and there you will be able to find other students. Right now we've got, whoa, look at that. You've got Anna, MD, Hamidul, Lorena, Saima, all in there waiting for somebody to chat with. So use the chat function there. Eugen, thank you for all of those fantastic emojis. They kind of make the class really happy at the end. Okay, so that's it for today. Tomorrow I will be back with more live classes. It will be reading for members and task 2 writing start for everyone. Of course, everybody can join the reading class, but you just have to be a YouTube member to join the chat. That's all. Okay. Okay, Ajaya, yeah, you bought the full premium course via Google Play. Yeah, you can get our full course through our apps as well. So if you get our apps, you can access the website. So you don't have to pay everywhere. You just pay one place and then you get access. That's awesome. Okay. Cool. Next, you have to click the join button next to the subscribe button on YouTube. That's it for me for now, everyone. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody has an awesome rest of your day. If it's late in your country, get some sleep. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.